only beginning.
Here we are, boys. The edge of the world. The goddamn threshold of hell.
Hi, this is the Professional Amateur Hour coming to with another review. This week I checked out The Beach Party at the Threshold of Hell, and this 2006 film was directed by Johnny Gillette and Kevin Whitney, and actually stars Kevin Whitney as well, along with Billy English and Jamie Bullock, among others of course. So what is the story of The Beach Party at the Threshold of Hell? Well, this one is a post-apocalyptic film, and I think it takes place in the year 2093, and actually there's a little bit before that, I guess in 2035 or something. Everybody has to go underground because of a nuclear war, and then 20 years later people actually leave their bunkers and have to rebuild society. And this one is about this guy named Tex Kennedy, and during his time in the bunker, he kind of got this message from this guy who's just doing a little radio show, and apparently lots of people heard this radio show. And it was kind of like the the bunker gospel essentially, and he kind of promised that there would be this king once everybody left their bunkers. So Tex Kennedy has to go and find this king. He knows exactly where he is, and he also has like 2 robot bodyguards that just look like regular humans, but with him, the future king, and his 2 robot bodyguards. Oh, also his girlfriend named Cannibal Sue as well. He has to go to the threshold of hell and take over this beach party because that is the foretold land of the new kingdom or something like that. And so yeah, what will happen? Well, for that you gotta watch the movie and find out. Alright, so what works with this film? Well, with this one, it's a post-apocalyptic world, and I love these types of movies, especially kind of cheesy ones like this. And it does kind of give vibes of other post-apocalyptic movies out there, certainly like America 3000. It kind of has that feel going on, especially with Tex Kennedy, and then they have other kind of historical figures in there, but this is their great grandchildren. And what else? Like there's another movie called The Six String Samurai, kind of same vibes where they're just walking through the desert. And other things like Rollerblade 7, it has, I would say, certain filming techniques that kind of remind me of that one. And so if you are just a fan of post-apocalyptic worlds, this one's a fun one, I would say. It's goofy, of course, certainly, but I would say ultimately just a fun, walking around the desert doing stuff in an interesting way. So yeah, that can be good. And also, I would say I enjoyed the way the story is told as well. They certainly have lots of framing devices and a narrator, and then they have flashbacks as well. They even have like flash forwards to like interviews with historians kind of reflecting on the adventures of Tex Kennedy in the story. And so that's just kind of fun, and the way it kind of frames it all, I think kind of works just to be like kind of not necessarily a goofy story, but one that is, tongue-in-cheek with its subject matter, and that certainly is kind of what you want from something like this, right? It's not going to be perfect by any standard, but it's fun. What else could you ask for? Other than that, I would say I enjoyed the characters. They're all pretty flat and one-dimensional, kind of just like, cartoon characters of themselves. So none of them really particularly change or develop, but I think with this one trying to be kind of a comedy set in a post-apocalyptic world, it gives it kind of this tongue-in-cheek kind of atmosphere to it, and the fact that they're all kind of historical figures, but the great-great-great-grandchildren of these historical figures adds to that tongue-in-cheekness of it. So certainly it's a light story, but one that can be fun. Also, I didn't know this when I pressed play, but it's the National Lampoon's Beach Party at the Threshold of Hell, and because of its National Lampoons, it has some kind of name recognition with it, but nothing about it is anything close to anything they've ever done. With this one, it, like I said, came out in 2006, and so it's trying for that edginess and that coolness that their other movies are trying at that time. With this one, it also looks like it's like an early digital camera that they're filming on as well, so it's just something that's particularly, I would say, unique. If anything else, I would say with this one, when I actually decided to press play on this one, I thought, why would I want to watch this one over something else, right? And I figured that this one was not lost media because, clearly I found it, but rare media. Certainly, I've never seen anyone talk about this movie. After all, who has heard of National Lampoon's Beach Party at the Threshold of Hell? Like, that's just such a weird movie title as well, so something that I just really wanted to see, and again, like something that is possibly rare. Who knows? I've at least never heard of it. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this film. Well, oh my gosh, the saturation on this film is, turned up to 100. Everything is just oversaturated. I guess they're trying to go for that, that nuclear look, but at the same time, it's just so bad. And with their early digital camera, it's just like grainy as well. Like, it really doesn't work for what they're going for. I would have at least turned down it, halfway, but they've just turned the saturation so far up that it's just too much. Also, you can tell there's some things that they're trying to be overly edgy with. Certainly, they have like a handheld camera. It's always like not zooming in, but the person's just like moving the camera like in front of people's faces. And it just gives you that Rollerblade 7 feel where it's just like a very amateur kind of made film that way. And it's just, I guess like they're trying to be edgy, but at the same time, it doesn't come across that way. It just comes across as like they don't really know what to do, or they're just trying to be like not a music video, but they're just trying to do something different that doesn't necessarily work. In addition, I know I said I liked the characters, but with this one, the main character, Tex Kennedy, he's just like this slimy politician, kind of like this Donald Trump-esque character, but more of that Kennedy vibe. And so like he'll just say things, and even if it's a lie, he'll believe it. So it's one of those things where he can kind of get on people's nerves. I would say they are trying to use him as comedic relief, even though he's the main character. So they're trying to work in kind of not jokes, but kind of funny situations with him. And not a lot of the funny situations, I would say, made me laugh. Like, this is National Lampoon after all. Like, they're known for comedies, but I think I only laughed once in this whole movie. I think I made a note of it too, so I'll definitely clip it in here, and you tell me if you thought it was funny.
You're really playing with fire here.
And so if you like that, maybe you'll like the rest of the movie. But yeah, this is just, a strange, weird, rare even movie. So yeah, it is certainly something interesting. As for a recommendation, well, yeah, bad movie lovers, I would say press play on this one. If you're into, post-apocalyptic worlds, this is a fun one. Certainly with the cartoonish kind of characters, and even like characters like Cannibal Sue, I enjoyed, right? Like, she's a cannibal. Like, what's going on with that? Like, it's fun ultimately. So I would say, yeah, if you can find it and you like bad movies, yeah, press play on this one. As for a rating, well, ultimately, I think for a general audience, it would be mildly interesting. So I'm going to give it the 3.4. I actually had quite a bit of interest into it while I was watching it, but, ultimately, I can't just do it for me, right? I got to do it for, a realistic mark. And so, yeah, 3.4 I think is well deserved. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.